Hello, everyone. We welcome you to today's webinar. And for us to know that you can see and hear us, please, you can leave a reaction in the chat. You can just type hi, or you can also type where you are coming from. So wherever you are watching from, you can just leave the chat, and then we'll know that you can hear us, and then we can get started. Okay, so thank you for the confirmation, and we also want to thank you for making time for this program. We hope that we'll be able to give you the best that we can do, and also we also apologize for choosing this kind of platform. We are aware that not all of you will be familiar with this Streamlit platform. We were trying our best to get some common options like Zoom or Microsoft Teams, but we were not able to. So we had to now go for this particular platform. And most of you have already found it, so you can put some chats there and we will see it because we are seeing your comments as they come in. That is one of the ways you can interact with us. And if you also want to speak, like you want to talk, you can let us know, then we will add you to the stage and then you can use your microphone. But please, before you do that, make sure that you are at a very quiet place for us. So thank you once again, and we will get started now. This is a webinar that will introduce you to how you can apply for Erasmus programs. And these are your presenters. Myself, Thomas, reading Master of Science in Copernicus Digital Earth. I also have on the in the stage on the call with us now, Augustine Ofobi Abra, reading Master of Geospatial Technologies, and Joseph Abeku Pentil, Master of Geospatial Technologies alumni. They will introduce themselves in due course, but this is us and then what we are about to do. We will have 4 sessions in all. The first session will, like you saw on the flyer and like you see on the screen currently, is we would teach you how to search for programs. And then you learn the CV preparation, and then the motivation. Then there will be a general Q&A session. We are trying our best to put it all in a 1 hour, 30-minute span so that we don't take so much of your time. So let me Okay, so now to the first session, how to apply for the program. It will first begin with a search, so you have to know that this is what I want to apply for, and then you go ahead and apply for it. This is me. I've already introduced myself, but I think I have to say it again. Maybe I'm reading Copernicus Digital Earth, and myself and all the others are also Erasmus Plus scholars. If you want to contact me. I am on other social media handles as well, but if you really want to be fast, you can see me on LinkedIn with my name, and then you can contact me. I also have a YouTube channel there, so it is for software development. If you are interested, you can check it out. Now to the first obvious question. What is Erasmus Plus? It is the EU's program, the European Union's program to support education and training and youth and sports in Europe. So it allows you to be in Europe and not in other places. So just take notes. If you're not interested in going to Europe, then you are the wrong place. But if you want to be in Europe or you would like to be there, then you can apply for this Erasmus Plus program. It extends beyond the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters, like it is popularly called, to other aspects as well. But we will not touch on the other aspects. We will be touching mainly on the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters degrees that helps you to do your masters in Europe. They have a strong focus on social inclusion and also on green and digital transitions, and also for young people participation in democratic affairs. So now, how do I apply? That is the obvious and obvious question why we are here. You start by finding a program that you like, that you are qualified for. That is very important. And you know that you are qualified for the program by reviewing their website, going through their frequently asked questions. Their admission guidelines also will tell you things that you have to know. Then when you find a program, you apply for it, or you prepare to apply. That is by getting your documents together, making sure that you fill the application form. And then once you finish, you submit your application, usually by submitting your documents and pressing a button, or sending documents also to certain places, maybe by email as well. And for the first part of finding a program, this is where you find the program, the Erasmus Mundus catalog. So you can scan this QR code, or if you also search for Erasmus Mundus catalog in your favorite search engine, it should give you a particular link, and then that is where we can search for Erasmus programs. So I'll bring up my browser real quick, and then we will go through this search together. So if I search for Erasmus Mundus catalog, I hope this is large enough for you to see. I searched for Erasmus Mundus catalog, and this is the first of the results that came. If it doesn't look like this, then probably go down. The first one might be an ad or something else, depending on the search engine you used. So I'll click on this link, which will take me to the catalog. Here, I see the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters for students. And I'll come down here and click on the search course by the course catalog. And this will bring me here. This is where you want to be to search for the programs. Please, if I am moving so fast, you can let me know. I'll slow down. But in any case, if you get the QR code, this is where it should bring you. This QR code should bring you to that website that is showing on my screen at the moment. Once you scroll down, you see that the Erasmus Mundus catalog currently has 232 programs. There is a lot of options for you, whether you are in any field, from archaeology to zoology. Everyone has a place here. And 232 programs, I mean, you can't exhaust all of them. So what you want to do is, if you want to see all the programs, you can now scroll down and then click on next, 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 until you go to the end. But if you also want to be specific, then there are options for everything, like I'm saying. So for science and space science and meteorology, you have options. So what I will do now is to come up to the catalog, and you can search by keywords. You can also search by country. The country, if you prefer to be in a particular country, you can search by the duration and the credits, or the particular university you want, or your field of study, which I believe will be most important for most of you. And the year of project selection, I don't really think you will use this one for search. But if you want to, you can do that. So if I go to this field of study, I click this drop down, you see that we have 19 fields of study. You can go through them, and most likely your field should be here. I am coming from a geomatic engineering background, so I can click on this geo or this environmental and geosciences. Or I also have some interest in IT, so I can click on this information science or the IT itself. There is even option for law. So for instance, if I select the law and then I search, I get all the options for law. So if you are a law student or you are interested in a master's in law, LLM, you can actually apply to any of these. One thing is that this field of study might limit you. So what I'll do is that I'll put in a keyword rather. So I'll now pick the space science. So if I say space science, or let me say meteorology, and then I'll search. Okay, now it says no results have been found. This is also a possibility. That means that in the catalog, there is no particular course that is really tagged like this or named explicitly with meteorology in the name. So you have to be very flexible when you are using keyword here. For instance, you can also search other things like, let me say, geo. And the reason why you'll be limited if you are so rigid in this keyword space is that most of these things that you want to do, like if you want to pursue meteorology in itself is a broad field, but most of these programs are made to address specific stuff. So you can pick like specific aspects of meteorology and then put them rather in the keyword, and then it will give you something. So I'm not really a meteorological person, so that's why I'm using a keyword that I'm familiar with, the geo keyword. So once I put geo in there, you see that I have a lot of things popping up, some of which are not related to the geo that I am looking for. But at least if I scroll down, I see one course here called Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation for Environmental Modeling and Management. This one is of interest to me because it aligns well with my background. So if you see something like this that you like, you can click on the title like this. That will take you to the school's website or the program website. So let me go back, and I'll prefer to open it in a new tab rather. But if you also want to find the Erasmus project overview, that is also the second link. But if you want to just read about the program itself, you can click on the first link, which is the name of the program. And so, for instance, this is the GEM website. Here you can read about the program. You can find information about how to apply, the documents that you need and all that. And then you will know how to do so. Most of them, or even all of them, should have a contact us session. Usually when you scroll down, you should find something like that. Okay, this one. But there's always a contact us session. There's a way to reach out to the program if you need more questions. But usually you should get all you need from this particular place. So is there any one who has a problem or did not understand how to do the searching for the program before I move on to another part? Okay, so I should assume that we all now understand how to search for the programs. But if you do have a question, also in the Q&A, you can ask, and then we will respond to you as best as we can. Now let's get back to our PowerPoint. After you now find a program using this catalog, what do you do next? The next one is to prepare to apply. And in this list is just the list of the most popular options out there. Program-specific lists or requirements may differ, so please take notes. But in the general case, you will now have to probably fill an application form. You will be required to have some academic documents, your transcripts and your degree certificates. Of course, you should have them with you during the application. You will be asked to provide a curriculum vitae or a CV. You'll be asked for your motivation for the program you have chosen. And you need an international passport because you will be traveling. And except you are in Europe where you can move around with your card, but if you are coming outside of Europe, you will most likely need an international passport. And the ones I have placed in asterisks, those ones, it means that some of the programs don't ask for it, others do ask for it. So, like reference letters, or some also say recommendation letters. Some also ask for your test scores. So, like the IELTS, some of the programs ask for it. And some of them also have language requirements. They will ask you for some language requirements. And apart from those ones, also, there are program specific requirements as well. Okay, so please, you can keep your questions coming. Joseph is and Augustine, I think they are active in the session, the comments, answering most of your questions. So please keep them coming. We are keeping watch everywhere. Then the last and final stage is, of course, to do the application or to apply. And that one means that you complete the application form. Make sure that you complete the application. Don't do anything, don't leave any field that is required. It might go against you. And then attach the required documents. Make sure you have them and you have them right. And another important step is that before you even click on that submit button, you review your application. Or you can let someone review it for you. Make sure that you have done it right. Make sure that you have presented yourself to the best that you can, because this is a global, it's open globally, so it can be competitive. And also ensure completeness of your application. Otherwise, it will go against you. I remember in one application, I couldn't submit one document on time. And so when the results came, I was made aware that my application was incomplete. And so it affected me. So please ensure that you complete the application and you do so before time. And that means that you have to also start applying early. Don't wait till the deadline before you do it. You do it in a rush and you will most likely not do it well. And after you have ensured completeness, you can now submit your application and then wait for the decision from the consortium or the admission board. And so that will be my side of it for how to search for the schools, and also one or two things to take note of. And these applications too, they are free. You don't pay anything, but for some of them, the process might require you to pay for some particular service. For instance, if you have to, for some of them, you'll be required to convert your transcripts from your system to an European system. That one is not being done by the school. There are other companies or services that provide that. So you will have to pay those services for them to convert it for you so that you can use it for the application. But you don't have to pay for the application itself, at least for most of them or all of them, I know. So the next session will be on how you can prepare your CV. Which format should you use? How should you make it? What should you put on your CV? Should it be long? Should it be short? Should it be detailed? Should it be bulleted? Which is the best one to use? Augustine will answer all those questions for you, and then the next session will also follow.
Hi everyone. I hope you can hear me. Sorry, um, My name
Yes, we can
is
hear you.
my name is Augustino Bra, and I also have a background in geomatic engineering, and I'm currently an Erasmus scholar studying my master's in geospatial technologies. So I will be taking you through the CV preparations. Yeah. So let's dive in. Yeah. So first, we will want to define what is a CV, or what we term as the curriculum vitae. And the curriculum vitae happens to be the application document that you submit, which tells your recruiter about your education or your academic history. All right. And because it's telling us about our academic history, it means that it can go as long as maybe 2 pages, 3 pages, or even sometimes up to 5 pages. It depends on the experiences and the achievement that you've had during the past years. All right. But when it comes to these masters and these Erasmus applications, sometimes their requirement make that point that it should be within 2 to 3 pages. So it means that no matter how much the experience you have to make sure you form it within the 2 pages that they are requesting. All right. So the CV is like presenting yourself to a recruiter. Okay, telling him about who you are, where you are coming from, your background, where you are now, and what you want to achieve. All right. So within this session, I'll be talking about these three aspects: the content, which I'll be talking about later. But first, let me talk about the format. All right. So you don't really have to make it colorful. Okay. You don't have to be blending a lot of colors in your CV. You can just stick to just white and black. Or some people also sometimes introduces blue. Okay. But don't try and then bring a lot of colors. It's not professional. So you have to make sure you keep to the white and black style. Okay. And also make sure you stick to one font style. Don't be using different font styles on a CV. Make sure you stick to one font style. If you are using the Times New Roman, make sure all your writings are in the Times New Roman. If it's in the area or the Calibri, make sure you stick to one font style. And also, because sometimes you have the title and then you have the details beneath the title. So I will entreat you to choose a specific font size for the titles, okay, and also a specific font size for the details that you'll be putting in. And also with the editing part, I would like to talk about the fact that the Erasmus allows you to apply for sometimes 2 to 3 um, programs. Okay, so it means that if you are considering the fact that you're applying to 2 to 3 programs, you can't be sending just one CV. For instance, your first background, let's say my first interest is in the geo part, okay, and then my second interest is also in the IT part. So you can't really be sending your geo things to the IT. Okay, you have to make sure you tailor your CV to fit the requirement that they need within that program. Okay, yeah. So let's dive more into the content. So with the content, I'll first be talking about the personal details, which is very necessary on a CV, and it should contain your name and then your email address. It should also contain your contact number and then your location where you are now. Okay, and I have an example beneath it. I hope you can all see with Julio. Okay, so with this CV, he has the name and then the contact, the email, and then the location where the person is right now. And then now, because sometimes the recruiters get time to visit your LinkedIn and maybe your professional website where you publish some of your works. So it becomes sometimes necessary to add these LinkedIn and personal websites. Okay. And then you can also add your research page. Some people had the privilege of publishing their bachelor's thesis and stuff. So you can add your research page, your Google Scholar page, or maybe your OSID, so that in case people want to view anything about your research part, they can look into those parts. Okay. It's not really compulsory. It's an optional thing. If you have it, put it there. If you don't have it, don't worry. Okay. So now let's move to our personal profile. All right. So the personal profile has to be with a summary of who you are. So you just give a summary of who you are, what you've accomplished academically, and then what your goals are. Okay. What you look forward in the future to achieve. Okay. So I have one example about a guy who is saying that he's an MB graduate from the University of Pennsylvania. So he's first talking about who he is, and then he made a statement about his achievement, which is he made the dean's list 4 consecutive semesters and all stuffs, and then he go into where or his goals that he wants to achieve, looking forward to utilize knowledge gained things. Okay, so make sure you add a profile, a personal profile. It's not really compulsory, but I think it's important you add. Yeah. And I also take through the educational background, since I told you that CV is about your academic background, so we can't take out the educational background. All right. So if you are a bachelor or you just completed your bachelor's, I think maybe the only thing that you can put there is your bachelor's. So you list the name of the university and then the degree you attained at that university. And then you state the date of entry or maybe the date of completion. Okay. And then the last three, which are the thesis, the GPA, and the relevant courseworks, are optional, but sometimes you can add it. So it depends on how lengthy your experiences are. Some people have a lot of experience that they can't fit it within 2 pages, so they might have to take out some things to create more space. Like you can take out the thesis, the GPA, the relevant courses. But if you are a beginner or you just completed your bachelor's with not much more experiences, you can be putting in these thesis, GPA, and relevant coursework to at least lengthen your CV a bit. All right. And I have an examples. Yeah, like I was talking about, don't make it colorful. So you see, these people stick to white and black, and then the last picture beneath he stick to just white and black, and then also added some blue to make the clarification in terms of um the degree that he attained at that university. All right. So with your experiences will have to do for those who just graduated from their bachelors. I think your experiences will have to do with the experience, the internships that you've had during your bachelors. Okay. Or if you had the opportunity to be a teaching or a research assistant, you can put those in. But if you didn't get the opportunity to do that, please stick to your internships and some of the programs that you attended. Okay. And then with these internships, you have to write the the name of the university, okay, and then the role that you were pursuing at that time. So if you're a teaching assistant, you state it. And then you can also state within the teaching assistant, you can state the things that you did as a teaching assistant. So you make a bullet of those 3 things. I think it's best you keep it to maybe 2 or 3. You don't really have to make it like plenty. Okay. So just look for some key things you did as a teaching assistant and then you can list them. And also for the research assistants, You can also state your role as your research assistant and give a brief description of the things that you achieved within those um, those days as research assistant. Yeah, and for research assistants, sometimes you are also put on a project. Okay, it's also refers to those who had the opportunity to do some internships at a company or maybe an institution. Sometimes you are being put on a project and then you assisted in that project. So you can list some of the projects that you did and then some of the things that you really did within that project. All right. And then with the publication, if you had the opportunity to publish your BSc thesis, okay, or if you've had the opportunity to do some researches and have published some papers, you can go and then show them your publications. All right. Yeah, for the picture I showed, especially for those doing their who just completed their bachelor's, one of the things that are mostly found among them is that they have their papers under review or they have their papers in progress. Okay, so you can just cite the paper maybe in a specific format, the APA format, and then the time of the year or the year that the paper will be published, you just write under review or maybe in progress. And if you have other papers that are published, they are necessary, so you have to put them there and then cite them very well. Yeah. And then for starters, I would say you can add, when I say for starters, because I believe most of us just graduated from our bachelor's. Okay, so you can state some of your key skills that you have, and with the skills, I would like you to like group it. Okay, if you have a programming skills, you can just group the programming skills and then write maybe some programming language that you are conversant with. And then if you are, I am from the geo part, so normally I deal with the geospatial tools. So for me, I'm going to group it in the geospatial tools. I have some software that I deal with. I know in some departments you deal with some tools, especially for those in geological, you do with some modeling tools. Those in civil also have some softwares that are unique to their field. Okay, so you can be grouping these skills under different groups. Yeah, I hope you get me. And then you can list some awards or honors that you've received during your bachelor's or during your master's. If this is your second master that you are seeking the opportunity to get in. You can list some of the awards, being it a scholarship, being it maybe grants that you've gotten. You can list them beneath it. You list the name of the grant, maybe the year you attained it. Okay, and some people have also had the experience of maybe publishing or defending their or presenting their works at conferences. All right. So you can also put those things inside. You put the name of maybe the work that you presented at the conference. You put and then you follow it by the name of the conference and maybe the year or the month and the year the conference was held. Okay. Others are also part of some organizational bodies. Okay. So you can list those professional bodies there. For instance, you have from my background, we have people who are part of the um, Institute of Engineers and maybe Institute of Surveyors and stuff. So you can, if you are part of such professional bodies, you can add those bodies to it. And I think this one is very common with those with bachelor, the certified online courses, because since you do not have much more experience, I believe you should have some of these the certified online courses to back up your CV or to back up your experiences. All right. So you can list some of the courses that your online courses that you've had the opportunity to attend And if you have the certificate, you can just create a hyperlink and then add the link to the certificate, so that if they are interested in viewing the certificate for that online courses, it also serves as a proof of what you are saying, that you really have you've really attended these online courses. So you can create a hyperlink and then add the link to a link to the certificate to that on your CV, so that if they click on it, they can view the certificate as a proof that you really did what you are saying. And then the last one would be the references, which have, you can give some contact details of some people that have you've had the opportunity to work with us, that have supervised your work, maybe two or three. Yeah, you can add them to this to your CV to make it a bit lengthy. But make sure you keep to the number of pages that they want, and make sure what you put there is related to the requirements or the program requirements. Okay. Yeah. And with the Erasmus, I think people will be asking about the fact that you need an Europass CV or something. Yeah, some of the Erasmus programs stated there that your CV should be in the Europass format. All right. So if your CV should be in the Europass format, then you have to visit the Europass website and then create a profile for yourself and then fill in all the necessary things that you have to fill, and then generate a CV for yourself. Okay. But some of them also do not really put it there that they need an Europass CV. So you can keep to your own template that you have, or you can go on to look for the Europass CV. Okay. Yeah, so I have some templates that I found online. The first would be the Europass CV, because some of the programs or some of the Erasmus programs ask for an Europass CV. So I have a link there. I think I'm going to share it in the um, comment section. So I have this link for the Europass CV, and I also have some other templates that you can check out from these Resume Genius, the Page Doctor, and then this template that I got from the Banda Global Consult. So I will share these links in the comment section, so that if you want it, you can like find your way through it and then see some of the beautiful templates that they have. Yeah. And then I think that will be it for today, for this session. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Augustine, um, for it's very detailed. We thank you so much for all this knowledge.
Mm.
So yes, but he'll be around. So in the Q&A, which will be after the next session, if you have any other specific questions, he will be glad to answer for you. Okay, so in for the next session, and we see your questions in the comments, and please bear with us. We are trying to satisfy all of you. So if your question has not been answered, then please paste it again, especially when we get to the Q&A, and then we will answer it for you. We apologize once again. We wanted options like Zoom or Teams where you can unmute and talk, but this is how we could, what we could get. So bear with us. The next session is for how to write a motivation letter, and it's as equally important as the CV. So please be sure you listen. If you prepare the best CV and you are not able to convince them by your motivation that they should pick you, I'm not sure they will pick you. So that will be by Joseph, and then we will now get to also the Q&A. Okay, so Joseph, please, we are waiting.
Just a minute. Okay, can you see my screen?
Uh, okay, yes, we can.
Okay, so today I'll be talking about the motivation letter, and a lot of people have already been asking, how should I write a motivation letter? How should I go about it? And I've seen quite a couple of motivational letters, and there are some common mistakes that people make. And so today I'm going to go through how you should go about writing a motivation letter in as in what you should look out for when you're writing a motivational letter. So the first thing, when you're writing a motivation letter, you need to have certain questions in mind. So the first question is, why should they take you and not others? Have in mind that in as much as we all want this application, this scholarship, there are so many other people that are also applying for this scholarship, and sometimes you have hundreds of people applying for one scholarship. And so the questions you have in mind is, why should they pick you and not others? What makes you distinct? What makes you stand out? And in that regard, the first thing that you should look at in terms of why they should pick you and not others is your motivation for that particular programs. Now, as Thomas showed in the Erasmus, they have 229 programs. And in as much as it's like tautology because it's how you should write a motivation letter, and I'm saying what motivated you to pick this program. But what I'm referring to over here is, if let's say you are picking um let's say you're picking digital Copernicus digital masters, why are you picking that and not the other 100 plus programs or 100 plus programs? Why that program? What motivates or what inspires you to pick that program? So when I say what inspires you, you shouldn't talk about things like, for example, you are coming from a poor background, you have financial constraints and stuff. It should be about how that program solves issues. So it should be about what you find interesting about that program. So, for example, if you are picking the program with, let's say, computer science, right, you need to think about the problems that computer science solves and how you want to get the knowledge that you've learned from computer science to solve that problem. So, for example, you want to be able to create apps, or you want to be able to create software that solves global problems or problems people face, or software that makes life easier. And computer science would give you those skills to solve that problem. So the whole idea is that you should have a problem you want to solve or something you want to achieve, and doing this program would help you achieve that. So it shouldn't be about yourself, because they are looking for people who are going to solve problems out there, people who are going to make a change or make an impact. So the motivation letter shouldn't be about yourself. It should be about how you are going to use what you learn to solve problems. So that's what the motivation about. So basically, why are you going for this program? After you get this program, what are you going to do with this program? What are you going to do with the knowledge you learn from this program? The other thing you should consider when writing a motivation letter is what sets you apart from others. So Augustine has mentioned it briefly in the CV. So this refers to like your soft and hard skills. When I say soft skills are like skills that are not technical, so more like maybe how resilient you are, how confident you are, how goal driven you are. Those are the soft skills, and hard skills are like your programming skills, your IT skills. So depending on what you are applying to, for example, if you're applying to something related to health, you should when you're writing a motivation letter, you should state things that you've done in the health field. So if let's say you want to apply to a program relating to medicine, or a program relating to human health or something of that sort, but you have skills in, let's say, programming, or you have skills in, let's say, accounting or any other field. In this case, because you are applying to a medical field, you need to state the skills that relate to that program, that relates to that medical field. So the skills you have, the experience you have in that field. The experience could be either the experience you had when you were in school or the experience you had after school. And someone in the question asked whether Erasmus is more related to work or to school. For most Erasmus program, at least what I know of, it's not really related to one particular either work or school, but it's more about your experience in that field or what drives you towards that field. So even with geospatial technologies, which is about making maps with IT and stuff, in my class, we had people who were coming from an economics background. So, someone who did his bachelor's degree in economics. We had someone who did his bachelor's degree in environmental science, in civil engineering. We even had one person who did the bachelor's degrees in pharmacy, and did and this thing got the scholarship for the geospatial technologies, which is about making maps and IT and all this stuff. So even though your bachelor's degree may not readily relate with that program, you should write a motivation letter in such a way that it will be like you mention what you've done in relation to that program and what inspires you. So, for example, you can say something like you have a bachelor's degree in pharmacy, and so you want to apply the geospatial technologies so that you can be able to identify places in the world that have less healthcare access. So you can write a motivation letter in that way where you're taking what you've learned and you want to also learn this new masters and apply it. So it's all about your skills, your soft and hard skills, and the experience you have related to that program. So whatever you are doing, whatever you're mentioning, even though you may not directly come from a background of that program, you need to channel everything at the end of the day to that program. Then, when you are concluding your motivation letter, you need to state what you are going to do after completing the program because you stated why they should choose you. You stated what motivates you for the program. You stated your skills, that's your soft and hard skills. When they choose you and they're giving you the program, after you're done with the program, what are your plans? What are the plans in future? How are you going to, what are you going to use the knowledge you've learned for? And you shouldn't, when it comes to this part, with the motivation letter, as much as possible, try not to be selfish. You know, try to make it be you're learning this skill to make an impact on others, or you're learning this, you're getting this masters to make a change or to solve problems. But if you just go like you are learning this program or you want to do this program so that you can become a civil engineer and you've always dreamed of being a civil engineer. So after this program you become the civil engineer you always dreamed of and make your mom proud and all those stuff. Then it means that when they pick you for the program, it's only going to be about you, and that's not what they want. They want to know how you are going to make the impact globally and to where locally and globally. So things you should avoid. I've already mentioned them in the first section. So first of all, stop trying to make them feel pity for you. A lot of people like to go with sad stories, and in as much as they are sad and they are disheartening and stuff, you shouldn't use that when writing a motivation letter. So don't say things like you're sorry for anybody has gone through any of the things I'm coming to mention, but just for educational purposes. So don't say things like maybe your dad died, when you're a child, and then your mom also died, and life had been hard for you and all this stuff. You can only say those things if you are saying that because of that experience, you want to, let's say, study medicine in order to prevent other people from going through what you went through. That's when you stated. So, if those experiences serve as a motivation for you to pursue something or a motivation for you to overcome certain challenges, or that motivated you eventually to pursue the program, then you can state it. But don't just state it so that they'll feel sad for you and they'll feel pity for you. Because the truth is, if you just state it for them to feel pity for you, it's not going to work. Because they want to know why they should pick you for the program. They are not trying to, like, solve sad cases or stuff, because there are lots of sad cases in the world now, and that's not the main goal. The main goal is picking people who qualify for the program. Secondly is, don't say things irrelevant to the program. So let's say you're applying for geospatial technologies, right? Or you're applying for medicine. I keep using medicine because I don't know the background of people here, and I know some people don't know what geospatial technologies is about. So, but everyone knows what medicine is about. So, if let's say you're applying for medicine, right? But let's say you're from an engineering background, or you did biomedical engineering, or you did something engineering, and you've done a lot of things engineering. You've done a lot of apps, and you've created a lot of websites and stuff. Don't come and mention them over here, because even though those things are great, even though maybe you want an award as the best computer scientist in your district or something, it doesn't relate to medicine. So, in as much as those achievements are great, try to limit whatever you're saying and to make it relevant to the program you are applying to. And last but not the least, anything you put in your motivation letter, make sure it's improving your motivation letter. Don't put up don't put up to maybe they say your motivation letter should be at least 1,000 words, and so you're just putting so many XX words that don't add any benefits to the motivation letter. Always try to make it short, concise, make it every point make sure every point in every sentence carry weight and it's relevant to your motivation letter. So this is the motivation letter I used when applying for the geospatial technologies. I'm done with the program. I started 2 years ago, but now I'm done. So I'm an alumni. So I just wanted to, you know, address the motivation letter, how the motivation letter went, and to inspire you when writing your motivation letter. So I'll just read it bit by bit. So Accra is one of so I was applying for geospatial technologies, and for those of you who don't know, geospatial technologies is about making maps that solve issues in the world. So, for example, when you pick an Uber, the map you see that links the driver to the passenger, that geospatial technologies. We also have maps like places that are prone to flood in order to um, ensure that the government would pay more attention to those areas. And so it's all about making maps to solve problems in the world. So my motivation at I said, Accra is one of the most flood-prone cities in Ghana, and this city happens to be the exact place I lived with my family all my life with my family. Over the past decade, the capital has experienced an unprecedented flash flood event. Paramount among these is the disaster of June 3rd, 2015, which ended up claiming hundreds of lives. Being in a world that runs on data and information, geospatial technology as an emerging field has proven to be one of the key areas that can be used for urban planning and community development. So with this particular motivation letter, they gave us a word limit. I think it was 250 words or 250 characters. So I had to be very precise. It doesn't mean your motivation letter should be short. It depends on which program you're applying to. But in the first section of it, I stated a problem. So this was the problem, the flooding problem that claimed so many lives. And I stated that geospatial technologies has been a key area that can be used for in urban planning in order to solve this problem of flooding. So You see, I first stated the problem, that's Accra having the flood, and then stating that the program I want to apply to is going to solve this problem. So in the what motivates you to select this program? Why this program and not other programs? So the reason why I'm selecting this program is that this program has proven to solve these challenges. If I go and do medicine, medicine cannot solve the challenges of flood. If I go and do biomedical engineering, it cannot solve the challenges of flood. But geospatial technologies can solve this problem. So that's why I picked this problem. And so, continuing, my motivation for pursuing a master's degree in geospatial technology is well rested on the backbone of the immense benefits a geo-related data-focused program can contribute to society. The most striking feature about the Erasmus Mundus program is the diversity it brings to me, as well as the wealth of knowledge I can draw from the resources provided by different schools in their respective cultures. Now, when you're applying for the geospatial technologies, one of the um, requirement is that you should be someone who likes to interact with people from different countries, and they actually give you marks for that. So that's why I had to bring this over here, because I was showing that I'm someone who likes to learn from people from different cultures. But it doesn't mean that for every program you should also bring this. So that's why I was saying that you have to make it in such a way that it's relevant to the program you're applying to. If I was applying to a defense program in which they don't look at how much or how diverse you are or how you like interacting with people from other culture, they don't give you marks for that, then there's no use bringing this part. So after stating the problem, stating why I wanted to do the geospatial technologies, stating, the other part that, relates to the program, then I concluded by saying, through this program, I am of the conviction that I'll be cut out as a leading consultant ready to apply my knowledge and skills to issues in my community and nation at large. So meaning that after I do this program, what I want to do with the program is to be a consultant that would use my knowledge and skills to solve issues in the community. And you notice that over here, I didn't mention my soft skills and hard skills because the form had a section where you list your soft skills and hard skills, but with a motive. So I didn't have to include it in the motivation letter and stuff. But for that section, I listed my Python skills, my GIS skills. GIS is Geographical Information Science. That's what's related to this program. And I spoke about an app I did that help people in locating places. And it was a coordinates converter, so like in converting coordinates. And that application I did was directly related to geospatial technologies. So depending on your motivation letter, you should also add, depending on how the application is. So in this case, I didn't have to add it here because I already added it in a different place in my application. But with your application, if you didn't add it, then the motivation letter, you have to also include the apps you did, if you've done any apps related to the program, and if you've done any activity that is directly related to the program. So that's all for me. I'm open to any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph, for your time and for the knowledge you've shared. Yes, I like this particular motivation a lot. And I think in the initial conversation with him, I cited it. Yes, I
Yeah.
liked it so much. Yes. Okay, so now we will jump into the questions part. And then if you have a question, we can answer it for you. Okay, so what we will do is we will look at the comment section. Some of them have been answered, and some of them too have not been answered. So please, if your question is not answered, you can type it again, we will answer it for you. We have, I think, the planned time was to go by. I think we have 31 minutes according to plan, so we can answer some of your questions before we leave. Okay, so I will read some of them, and then our guests, you can answer them for us, please. I will not be mentioning your names, so please, I'm sure you know the question you are asking. So if your question is being read out, then you get ready for the answer. Or even if it is for somebody, it might help you too. So that is for, data protection reasons. So someone is asking whether is asking for some info about the motivation video as part of the requirements. I think this video is related to a particular program because not all programs ask for videos. I think Geospatial Technologies was asking for video, if I remember. Yes.
Yeah, I think our guest can be the best person to answer this.
Okay.
Yeah, they requested for a link to a video, which was optional though. But if you want to do it, it's like your motivation. The video is about your motivation, but express in this case, you are on a video speaking it loud. Okay, it's not a written format, and it was optional. But for me, I think if they put it as an optional thing and then you can do it, I think you should do it. Okay, if you have the time to do it, do it. If you don't have the time, just leave it. All right. But there was a session for a video, a link to a video describing your motivation. And it was a 2 minutes video. You don't have to go above 2 minutes. Just stay within the 2 minutes, 2 minutes limit, and then maybe put it on what on your Google Drive and maybe share the link to them. Yeah. So I think it doesn't apply to all programs, but I know for geospatial technologies, there was an option for you to um, submit a link to a video, but it was optional, so you don't have to worry yourself with that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. And there is a question also whether it is a mandatory, whether there is a mandatory return policy to your home country after the studies.
Uh, there's no mandatory return policy, at least for most of the programs I've seen. The actual the the should I say the goal of the Erasmus is actually to get high skill, is actually to, like, get people to come and improve the European economy. That's, like, one of the goals. So there's no mandatory term policy from the programs I've seen so far, and from all the other Erasmus people I've contacted with. There's no mandatory term policy.
Okay. Thank you. And there's a question also asking for the best track to follow in for the, I think the GEM program, I think has 4 tracks. But this question, I still don't get it. Please, if you can rephrase it. But if you are asking for the best track for the Copernicus Digital Earth for students of Geographic Information System background, then I will also say that if you have interest in the cartography aspect of things, then you should go for the geocommunication and geovisualization. But if you are a remote sensing person, then the geodata science track will help you. Okay. I don't know if that best answers your question. If not, you can now break it down simpler for us because I am still finding it difficult to get it. Okay, there is also a concern here that when the person was applying for the GEM, the application did not require any motivation or statement of purpose and recommendation letters. Okay, maybe one of the our guests will answer this question, but let me also state that we don't know everything about all the Erasmus programs. I am reading Copernicus Masters in Digital Earth, and our two other presenters are also geospatial technology students. So we don't know everything about all Erasmus programs. And this is it. There is not a single body doing the selection for all the programs. Each of the programs have their consortium or board which reviews your application. So if you have program specific questions and it is not in maybe geospatial technology or Copernicus digital earth, or most likely in the geomatic or geospatial field, then please you will want to check out their website. Usually they have frequently asked questions and then you find answers to most of the things that you want. But if you are interested in any of these two programs from us, then you can ask here and then we will answer you. So I'm sorry if we cannot answer all the questions about specific programs. I don't know if any of the presenters, Augustine or Joseph, you know about this GEM. The person is saying that they couldn't submit any other documents like motivation or recommendation.
Um,
I didn't apply for the
for
GM.
GEM, I don't know, but I think last 2 years or so there was uh, I think there was a session where you could upload your motivation letter. Yeah, but if it's not there at this time, you don't have to worry about it. If they provide the session for you to upload such a document, you can go on. And I think one of the best thing to do is to contact them, because most of the times when I was doing an application and I didn't understand something, I reached out to them that this was my problem, and then they returned to me that this is how you can do it. This is how you can go by this. Use this approach. Use this approach. So I think the best thing to do is to contact them. But I think if they want you to submit something, they will give you the option to upload the document or something. So if it's not there, I think the best thing is to contact them and then let them know and see what they can do about it. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Someone also has a BTech in electrical and electronics engineering. He wants to go into cyber physical systems. So he has studied applied cyber security. He has skills in the hardware and some programming skills, but don't really have direct skills in cyber security. How do you go about it? Well, for the person who asked that question, if you want to be all skilled in what the program requires before you apply, then the question is then why are you going to do the program? Because in your case, then you will be all sufficient in that field. I think Joseph mentioned it in the motivation letter that you have to tell them why they should pick you among the many people who are also coming in. So all your previous knowledge and journey is impressive. So if you don't have knowledge in the cybersecurity, that can even be your motivation because that is where you fall short and the program itself can come in and help you. So you don't need to be the Albert Einstein of the field before you apply. Something like this, you can write it in a very good way to be a very positive motivation. So yes, you can apply, but know how you write that one also.
Yeah, so for just to add to that one, so for programming skills, for instance, cybersecurity, from what I know, it has some Python. So even if you know Python, you it's you know some part of cybersecurity, and so your motivation should be based on why you want to learn about cybersecurity. So maybe you realize that lots of companies in your areas get hacked or something, or you had a personal experience with hacking and stuff, and ever since then you've been inspired to learn the cybersecurity and stuff. And so, due to that, you started learning programming and stuff and all those things. So, you shouldn't necessarily be an expert, but you should show that you're in the path of getting there in terms of like what is inspiring you and where that has inspiration has taken you so far in terms of what you've learned in programming and all those stuff.
Okay, thank you so much, Joseph. Yes, that is it. So just find it a way of writing the motivation around these things. As I said, Joseph, I like you for that part. I really do. I really do. Okay, so there's also someone who is saying they have a master's in geomatics. Can they apply for another Erasmus program in the same specialty?
Yeah, you can. Because even when you're applying for the geospatial technologies, there's a section that you can fill in your masters. If you have a masters, you can fill it over there. So you can apply for another Erasmus program. That if you haven't already had an Erasmus program before in the past, but if it's like maybe a just master's degree from your country or from anywhere else, yes, you can apply for the Erasmus program in the same specialty.
Okay, okay, sure. And for there's someone also asking whether they can apply for multiple GEM programs.
I think for the gem, I think I'm not so sure, but I think there should be an interview. So if it doesn't require motivation letter, maybe that's because there's an interview or something. But I personally didn't apply for gem. For those who are asking about the motivation letter of gem.
Okay. For another GEM question asking whether they take two intakes each year. I'm not so sure for an Erasmus program to take two intakes a year.
Yeah,
But
mostly it's just one. Mostly they just
one.
have the application. They just open this once a year most of the time. And so the
And
person
oh,
asks the
sorry.
multiple gem programs. I'm not. I can't really give a good answer because I haven't applied for gem,
Okay.
unfortunately.
So we also have a concern here. The person has an MSc. Do I remove this information from my application?
No, don't remove it. If you have an MSc, just add it.
Yeah.
The MSc doesn't devalue it in any way. Because one of my classmates had an MSc, and he was doing his second masters. We have a number of people who have Erasmus as their second masters, so don't remove it.
Okay. And there was a question. This is a follow-up to a previous question about the GEM application. The person is wondering how to make the application competitive because we did not require motivation and references. I'll start with this one, and then Augustine and Joseph, if you have something you can add. Specific to the Copernicus Master in Digital Earth, there are two forms that you fill. The first one is a very simple form. You fill it, they will ask you about the specialization you want to do, whether geodata science or geovisualization. And then they will even ask you some other questions. You hit submit, that will be submitted, and they will send you a link to your email, which contains, which will lead you to the application portal. where they will ask you questions about why this program, upload this document, ABC. So for the issue with the GM not requiring motivational references, I highly doubt that an Erasmus program will not require those documents or even any master's program. So what I would recommend is, I don't know so much about it, so get the program coordinator's contact. You can get it from the website. Usually there is a contact us session. And then tell them that you did the application. This is what happened. Are they not requiring ABC, or there's something you are missing? Trust me, these people, they are very helpful. They will reply you quickly, and then they will let you know whether you have done the right thing or there's something left for you to do. Okay. Someone is asking something specific to my program, whether there is a language requirement. Yes, there is a language requirement. You have to be able to speak, write, and understand English. And there are some countries that are waived off that English requirement list. The list is on the website. You can find it. If your country is on that list, you can submit the application without the English requirement test. But if not, then you have to provide a test that certifies you as someone who can speak, understand, and write English. And someone is also asking, when do the applications usually open for the scholarships? And when will you recommend is the best time to start preparing to apply? Augustine and Joseph, please, any of you want to take this one? When do the applications open, and then when is the best time to start the application?
So I'd say that right now, most of the so from what I've seen, we have application that's open from like at this time to 15 January. For example, the geospatial technologies open around this time and closed on 15 January. For this year, I don't think there are scholarships available for geospatial technologies, so you can try other programs. The coordinators are trying very hard to return to bid for the scholarship so that next year we have the scholarship. But we have like a set of programs that's open like around this time, a lot of programs. And the second set of programs open like early January, February. So like January, February, March. But most of the programs open around this time. And yeah, so like January 15th. So check. And one thing I advise is anytime you come across a program you think you like, try and create an Excel sheet, a simple Excel sheet. So on the first column, put in the name of the program. The second column can be the link of the program, and the third column can be when the program would, the deadline of the program, so that you have all the programs in your Excel sheet, so you don't miss anything. Yeah, but most of the programs are open, so you could check it.
Okay, thank you. We have just about 2 minutes left. And someone is asking for a specific question about my program. Please, for this type of questions, because it's not, I mean, really applicable to all of us, I will recommend that you message me on LinkedIn. If you are okay with that, then we can go into details. And someone is asking, maybe this will be our last question. The person is asking if the scholarship is available for all programs or specific programs.
Most of the programs, I would say that generally all the programs have the scholarship from what I've seen so far. It was this year that I realized that geospatial technologies doesn't have scholarship for this year. But apart from that, all the programs I've seen have scholarship. I haven't gone through all the Tanja programs, but what I've seen so far have scholarships.
Yeah, and I think that if you want to see the program that have the scholarship, I think you should go to the program page. Sometimes they write there if they have scholarship for the following year or for the current year, or when they are so when there will be scholarship for people. Okay, so you have to check all those things. If you find a program of interest, I think one thing that you need to, or one of the first things that you need to do is to check if they have available funds for scholarship. Yeah, if they do not have, then you look for another program of interest. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So the time is up for the. I mean, we wanted to make it 1 hour 30 minutes. We don't want to take so much of your time, and also these two people are very busy people. And before we even leave the stream, I especially want to thank them for honoring this invitation. And they agreed to do this thing for you and to do it for free because there's no way I could pay for their time. So I want all of us before we leave to at least drop some comments appreciating them for their time. And then also, if you want to reach out to them, I don't know, but for me, if you want to contact me, the fastest way is through LinkedIn. You search for. I'll leave my LinkedIn in the comments, so you just type my full name and you should be able to find me on LinkedIn. And the rest also. Okay, so let me. Okay, so you can also find that for Joseph and Augustine in the chat as well. And the stream should be available for you to watch shortly. But this platform that we use also is a subscription which should expire tonight or tomorrow. So if it is not available after that time, I think we will still have the video, so we'll find a way of uploading it, and then we will get the links to you. We cannot do so by email because of the number, but you may share it on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, and please they've place their names on in the chat. So make sure you send them your messages and connections. And also, please, very important, if you are sending a message to any of them or to any program coordinator, please note this. You don't come to the person's DM and say hello, wait for the person to reply hi, then you greet, you expect an exchange of pleasantry before you go straight to the question. It is cool because it signifies some level of respect and it is okay to show respect. But please, you can make it like good afternoon or hello. My name is so and so, and I am contacting you because of the scholarship webinar. I have ABC concern. Can you help me with this? In that case, when the person comes to read your message, he gets to know exactly what you want and then can return to you. So that the person doesn't have to do back and forth before they answer your question and all that. It applies to when you are messaging the program coordinators as well. Please make sure you put your message out and then prevent delays for your replies as well. Okay, so we also thank you for making time for this webinar, and we wish you the very best in your application. We are hoping to hear from you next year by this time that you'll be somewhere in Europe. Enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, it is goodbye.
Ciao.